Salut, c'est Géraldine, bienvenue sur Comme une Française TV, Sound French, even to the French. When you speak French very well, sometimes too well, your French might be a little bit too clean, too formal, too perfect. If you don't want to sound like a book, it's always a good idea to dirty it a little. I'm not talking about swearing or speaking like a teenager, but adding a little bit more real French to this literary French. There are many ways to add a few tics de langage, slang or colloquial French, but one way that students often ask me about is dirty grammar. It's the bad grammar we often use in spoken French, the one you won't use in exams, don't, but that really sounds French. And to be honest, it's the mastery of this bad grammar that usually proves you are fluent. Way more than using complicated words. If you know how, where and when to use this, you will be very good. This is a special episode for advanced learners, so don't freak out if you don't get the point, it's okay. And don't use it in exams as I said before, don't. However, if you are intermediate or advanced and looking for fluency, this episode might be a big aha moment. Spoken French grammar, repeating the subject. A simple, normal French phrase looks like this. Victor nage. Victor nage. Victor is swimming. Subject and verb. Victor nage. Easy. You can also add a place. Dans la piscine. Victor nage dans la piscine. Victor is swimming in the swimming pool. Or even tous les matins. Victor nage dans la piscine tous les matins. You add a place and a time, but mostly it's the same structure. Subject and verb and adding extra info. In spoken French, we sometimes repeat the subject, like this. Victor, il nage. Victor, il nage. That's a sentence. Doubling the subject helps to prepare the person you're talking to for what you're talking about. In Victor, il nage, first you mention Victor, so the person knows what you're talking about, Victor, and then you will give the main information, Victor, il nage. This is pretty subtle and maybe a little bit difficult to understand if you just compare the two sentences in written form, Victor nage and Victor il nage. You can tell me, there is only a il as a difference. Yes, but this il makes a huge difference. And sometimes there's a pause, Victor il nage. It helps to insist on the main information. Victor is swimming or Victor swims. We can assume here it's regularly. This is what we want to insist on. If you're into theory and grammar, you will like to learn that this doubling has a name, la reprise. La reprise. It means to repeat mainly. Don't worry about remembering the name. I didn't know about that before this episode, and no French person knows about that. Also, if you're into grammar, the name is not always la reprise in the examples we'll see after that. It's not always la reprise, check it out and you will find it on Google. Many forms of reprise. The end of phrase. We saw the simplest structure. Victor nage becomes Victor il nage, okay? Easy. But we can also put the repetition at the end of the phrase, il nage Victor. It implies Victor swims and I don't, or you don't. It's used to make a difference. You can also add places and times. This works exactly the same when you add time and place we mentioned before. Victor, il nage dans la piscine tous les matins. Victor, il nage dans la piscine tous les matins. And you can exchange them as well. Il nage dans la piscine tous les matins, Victor. Il nage dans la piscine tous les matins, Victor. We put Victor at the end. Doubling almost anything. You don't have to double the subject, you can double lots of other words in the phrase, and this is real French. We won't cover all the times, but I will give you a few examples you can copy. Ah mais voilà, c'est une super nouvelle ça. Ah mais voilà, c'est une super nouvelle ça. You repeat the object with the pronoun at the end. Super nouvelle and ça. Okay, this is great news. Tu la déplaces ta voiture? Tu la déplaces ta voiture? Here you repeat the object with the pronoun in the middle. Tu la déplaces ta voiture. La and voiture are the same. C'est quoi son nom à lui déjà? C'est quoi son nom à lui déjà? What's his name again? Here you see, c'est quoi son nom à lui? Okay? It's a bit tricky, but work on it or look at it on Google and you will find much more information. Another one. Je l'ai déjà mangé le yaourt. Je l'ai déjà mangé le yaourt. The elle de je l'ai déjà mangé and le yaourt are the same. You're just repeating what you're talking about. It means I've already eaten the yogurt. The same for j'en ai déjà pris du gâteau. J'en ai déjà pris du gâteau. The en and du gâteau are the same. It's cake you're talking about. That's another form of reprise. There are many examples. A bonus now. La double reprise. La double reprise. Paul, il aime bien ça le tennis. Paul, il aime bien ça le tennis. You can double the subject and the object. Paul, il aime bien ça le tennis. Paul, il are the same and ça, le tennis, are the same. You're just repeating what you're talking about. You can combine all the other phrases we saw before. If we take the phrase, for example, j'en ai déjà pris du gâteau, j'en ai déjà pris du gâteau, with a double reprise, it becomes moi, j'en ai déjà pris du gâteau. You see, we double the subject, moi, je, and j'en ai déjà pris du gâteau. The possibilities are pretty endless. If you want to try, let's do an exercise. Ready? Okay. How would you add la reprise to this phrase? Mathieu aime le saucisson. Mathieu aime le saucisson. Okay, try. Okay, yeah, okay. You can say il aime le saucisson, Mathieu. Il aime le saucisson, Mathieu. Or Mathieu, il aime le saucisson. Mathieu, il aime le saucisson. Here you're doubling the subject, but you can also say Mathieu aime ça, le saucisson. Mathieu aime ça, le saucisson. You're doubling the object. And if you want to really go all in, you can say Mathieu, il aime ça, le saucisson. Mathieu, il aime ça, le saucisson. Or you exchange, il aime ça, le saucisson, Mathieu. It's a bit difficult, but we can find even more difficult. Let's try this one. Christina va à Paris. Christina va à Paris. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, let's try this together. Christina, elle va à Paris. Okay, Christina, elle va à Paris. That's the easiest way, but you can say elle va à Paris, Christina. You exchange them. Elle va à Paris, Christina. Or Christina y va à Paris. Okay, because you have a place, so you have to say y. Christina y va à Paris. Again, with a double combo, Christina, elle y va à Paris. Christina, elle y va à Paris. It insists on the fact that Christina, she is going to Paris and maybe you are not or I am not, okay? It's very subtle, but it adds meaning to the phrase. And you can also say, elle y va à Paris, Christina. Elle y va à Paris, Christina. You hear it? The way I say it makes it much different. And this is why it's so important to listen to French people speak, in movies as well, where you will hear la reprise in real life. Okay, last one, it's a bit of a challenge. On a fait une surprise à Pablo. On a fait une surprise à Pablo. It's a bit more difficult, okay? Think about it. On a fait une surprise à Pablo. How would you add la reprise there? Okay. The use of on makes it a bit more difficult because when you do la reprise with on, you have to use nous. I refer on this, check the video about on that I did before. Here you would say, nous, on a fait une surprise à Pablo. Nous, on a fait une surprise à Pablo. It means we did a surprise to Pablo, okay? And you don't, or we got it's okay, we are ready for the party, okay? You can also say, on a fait une surprise à Pablo, nous. On a fait une surprise à Pablo, nous. You see, we exchange as we saw on the first case. You can also say, on lui a fait une surprise à Pablo. On lui a fait une surprise à Pablo. Or even more, nous, on lui a fait une surprise à Pablo. Nous, on lui a fait une surprise à Pablo. Here, you can hear the meaning. Nous, on lui a fait une surprise à Pablo. We made a surprise for Pablo and maybe you didn't. Whew, it's a bit difficult, that's fine. Et toi, did you know this construction in French, even if it's a bit more difficult? Do you use it? Have you heard it before? Tell me in the comments one anecdote where you heard or used la reprise. Share your experience in the comments below the video. We can all learn from your story. The comment section is the best place to start discussions and ask questions, especially today with such a topic. If you like this video, share it with your friends on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, anything you want. Help me spread the word about Comme une Française. Merci. Love French, dream of sounding French even to the French learn how with me, Géraldine on communefrancaise.com, and subscribe to my email updates for exclusive tips on real life in France and an exclusive video lesson, Introduce Yourself in French. And it's free. Merci for watching Comme une Française TV, sound French even to the French. Allez, salut!